Hey guys, this is Moriarty,
And I'm Crypto Spook,
and today we're taking a look at a newer VR game called Spellbound.
which is very enchanting.
Ooh, the puns. We were contacted by the developer, and he thinks that this is definitely the one game that will bewitch us, captivate and enrapture us, that will enthrall us and hypnotize us away. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. There's only one complaint I had in the entire thing, and it was immediate, and that was the fact that the painting that is magical, showing you the story, did not have parallax and multiple depths so that it looked like a magical painting, which I thought would have been a really neat effect.
That would have been neat. To be fair, when I played this, I didn't even look at the painting. I just went click, 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 click.
I thought the artwork was really cool, the voiceover work was good. This is one of those games that gives you feet and shoulders.
And the shoulders are so weird.
It worked pretty well. I was actually pretty impressed with the legs. Because it's a robe, you don't actually see the legs underneath it. I think it worked out pretty well. Because when you crouch and things like that, you just kind of see your robe billow out a little bit. I think that worked. The movement in this is pretty interesting. It's sort of like a climby walking motion where you swing your arms in front of you. That will get you moving. It's a little bit more refined than the climby motion in that it's usable at all. So that's a good plus.
I will say that I did not pay much attention to the tutorial introduction of this, but I was enjoying everything about this game that I saw. It looked very, very pretty. The soundscape was well put together. The visuals were nice. The shadow and light seemed to be well proportioned to each other, and there was actually more going on in the levels than you interacted with. There was places you could go. I mean, there wasn't much to see there, but you could go to different places and look at stuff.
Yeah, there was a lot of different stuff going on. I was kind of disappointed by some of it because I felt like while the narrator's sitting there saying, I see lights and I see eyes, but whenever I would look at them, they would go away. And you see eyes off in the forest, but when you look at them, they stare right back at you. Little things like that. I don't know if it's easy to do, but I would have enjoyed that a little bit more. This could be a really, really, really cool game. And it is fun. And you know what? It's one of the few D-pad locomotion games that didn't make me instantly go, whoa, I gotta stop this. This is making me dizzy. So I had fun with that, and it's pretty gentle. It's a decent game. It's got some really cool effects. There's some really neat things going on. When you go and you're fighting your first boss is really cool, though. He's pretty easy to cheese after you've done it a few times. What happens after you defeat the boss is pretty spectacular as well, especially in VR, though I was killed by it because I was too busy looking at it. Perhaps one of the downfalls of VR is when things are too pretty. You just kind of go, oh, that's really cool.
Too pretty to kill.
And then the next thing you know, you're dead from it. Oh well.
I'm looking at this and I'm watching you try to get your flame to work. I figured it out very quickly, but it was not very well explained, was it?
No, it took me quite a while to figure out how to use it.
I figured out you just pull the trigger and then it's like, hey, now you got a flame ball. Is that what it was for you? Did we get different versions of this game somehow?
No, that's exactly what it was, but the thing is that the tutorial guy is like, oh, you must press down and do this and do this.
Yeah, that's what I tried to do. And I was like, okay, why did I do this?
The throwing arc is pretty good. It feels pretty natural. It takes a little bit of practice.
It does feel natural, but it definitely takes practice. Like, it's hard. It is so hard to be accurate when you're throwing these fireballs around.
It takes some time, but it does feel natural. The sad part is that you don't get enough time to practice actually throwing accurately, and so what I ended up doing several times was just making a massive fireball and throwing it at the ground as I was being surrounded.
Well, you had a completely different play style for this than I did. I ran away from everybody and then just lobbed fireballs at them until they died. And that's how I found out that the levels were destructible.
I really would appreciate some time to get used to my powers. I really, really need some sort of system that allows me to say, here's a target, throw at the target. Okay, we've seen how you throw accurately and we've adjusted your angle for that. Now throw, is it still accurate? Great, you're good. No, okay, let's adjust it again. I don't necessarily think I think that is also the kind of implementation that would make these games significantly more natural feeling to the players who are in them. If I'm throwing consistently, then I'm going to feel much more confident, as opposed to going, oh man, I don't feel like I can stand and fight these guys because I don't know where my fireballs are going to go, which was happening to me in most of my fights. I didn't know where anything would land. And so that's why I ended up defaulting to, fine, I'll just throw things at the ground because I know I can hit the ground directly beneath me. I do want to give a huge shout out to the sound in this game, because I tell you what, these zombies are kind of frightening.
They were, a little bit.
Yeah, when you're hearing those noises in your ears and it's pitch black everywhere and you can't really see anything, and on top of that you feel kind of defenseless because your ultra super powerful fireball, when you throw it and you feel like it's going to go 20 feet and it instead goes 80, you know, it's like, man, I'm going to have to let these zombies get really, really close to me and make that horrible, awful noise.
And they are some menacing looking folks as well.
Yeah, the whole thing is really well designed in that way. I appreciated this game. I like it. I think it's fun. Absolutely encourage you to pick it up and try it. When you get into it, understand that you need to play with these fireballs more than a single time, because it isn't going to work for everybody, especially if you're not going to have enough room to be doing a proper baseball pitch.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I didn't even realize you could charge up the fireball until probably 3/4 of the way through the game.
If I were this developer, I might get a streamer to live stream the entire tutorial for me, maybe one or two of them, and say, okay, no introduction, tell me what you don't understand. I think some of that Nintendo-esque gameplay testing would be hugely beneficial for developing a tutorial.
Tutorials are an absolutely important thing, especially in the burgeoning media that is virtual reality. We're not going to understand exactly how to play something because it's so new. Especially because so far pretty much every game that I've played has used basically different controls.
They all have different controls. We haven't had our Halo or Call of Duty yet that has codified what controls do what. On top of that, there's so many different types of locomotion, and we really have to figure out what to do there. But we'll be talking more about locomotion next week. There you go, guys. That's Spellbound. I think it's a pretty interesting game. I think it's got a lot of potential. I recommend that if you're interested in a VR game that is about a story, first off, and also about killing zombies, and also about throwing magical fireballs everywhere, well, this might just be the one for you. If you like it, like it. If you don't like it, don't like it. Be sure to let us know what you think. Have you tried anything else out? Are you talking about Waltz of the Wizard? Because that sure isn't the same game. Be sure to check out the Patreon. Don't forget to subscribe. We really appreciate it when you do. Trust me, I'm checking every day.
We'll see you on the next one.